Okay, my friends, in this video we're going to put fog lights on this 2012 Scion IQ, because there are no fog lights, and I bought this kit online. I believe it was Amazon. It's called Spider. Here's all the information if you need it. So here's what we're going to do. It came with all these wires. I hope that we don't have to use these, because I would be upset if this car wasn't pre-wired for fog lights. I mean, why would they make a car and not wire it for fog lights if that was an option? You understand? Here's the covers. Right there. Here are the two lights. Right there. And here's the switch. And some other pieces. And I assume these might be instructions. Truth of the matter is, I don't really want to have to wire this whole car up. But we're going to take it apart and we're going to see if it's pre-wired, because I'm pretty sure it is. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the front bonnet, this piece here, bumper, whatever you want to call it, so we can get access, and we'll see if it's pre-wired. So we're going to get a 10mm socket, and we'll need a tool to pull up the clips. Let me show you what that's all about. If you've never done this before, I've done it many times. Alright, these clips right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have some 10mm bolts underneath. So let's get cranking. I'm going to use this little tiny crowbar here, pry bar. Push this up, pull these out. There's a little slot in there where you can get something underneath it. Okay, now let's get a 10mm socket. Alright, so I don't have an angle driver. I mean, I do, but it's air controlled. So I'm just going to use this 90-degree adapter and get underneath there and take off those bolts. Okay, so that one here. Yeah, okay, they're really rusted in there. Let me see if they're all like that. There's another one here. Okay, I'm going to have to get a stronger tool. Alright, I got a regular socket wrench here. Yeah, that's not that tight. It must be that 1/4-inch impact thing is just not strong enough. Let's see. Another one here. So what is that, 3? Another one here. Five, and another one here. Okay, now they're loose. so we could use our impact gun here. One. Two. This is all my apparatus for my camera. This is a battery because the battery in this camera is no good and I can't get another one. All right, I think that's it. So let's go to step 2. All right, now you should be able to just pick this up, and then you have to disconnect it over here. It just snaps in. Let me make sure there's no other bolts in here. See, there's one of those plastic clips in there, so let's get those out. So there's another attachment up here at the top. I don't see any bolts or clips, but it's like you have to lift it, push it down to get it off of this clip. So let's try that. There it goes. Okay, so that you push down. You see that little clip right there? You push down, that grabs it right in that slot. And now this piece here, the clip is still good. We'll need a pin to get, and I have some extra things we can put in there to fix that. So we'll leave that for now, then we'll just go over and do the other side. Right, so here's the passenger side. You see there's this little plastic pin in there, which actually isn't even attached to the fender. So we want to push this down, unhook it. It should. Whoa. There you go. It's off. Didn't want it to come off that way, but that's the way it came off. Okay, now would be a good time to inspect and do some things, and look at this. There's your wiring for your fog lights. That is going to save me a lot of time. All right, let's remove these. All right, so you're going to need like a needle nose. You want to push these tabs in here like that and push down. Just clear the tab. You probably could even use a screwdriver. Okay, see, don't need a needle nose, but it will work. Squeeze those tabs in, and there you go. And we'll go over to the bench, and we'll get the right piece. There's the front. There's the front. Same one. So leave that there because we know this is going to go on the same way. Push it in until it snaps in place. Let me see what we got here. There we go. That's in. That's in. That's in. That's in. This one here. It's in. It's not as snug as I'd like to see it. In the meantime, we want to get the lenses, the lights itself. Okay, we have this one. And we have this one. I don't know if it says there's a left or a right on here. Okay, so the way I have it set on my other car is so that the light is reflected off the road this way out. You can also turn them, or you can actually adjust these lenses in here with this nut, but I'm just going to leave them set at the factory, and I believe this is the one that we want over here. So what you want to do is you want to get these two tabs underneath this piece here, and that holds it in place. And then there's another bolt that goes right in here. Alright, I can't seem to find those bolts. I may have accidentally thrown them out, or I put them somewhere and I forgot. So I've got a couple of stainless steel screws here that we'll use if they'll fit. I mean, I have smaller sizes. Let's see what we get here. And that's it, just one bolt holds that in. Okay, that worked. What I'm concerned about here is that this clip here keeps popping out. Between this one and this one. And so maybe what I could do is I can put something in here and hold it in place so it doesn't pop out. But let's see what it looks like. There you go. That's what it looks like. All right. Let's careful we don't want to scratch this. Let's do the other one. Okay, these are not vents, although they look like it. That's in right. It's not that secure. Could use a little assistance there. All right, so we want to put this one facing out. So you slide it under there. These two slots in here. You want that line up right there with that hole. And these screws seem to work. Okay, now before I put this back on, I want to stick some putty or something in there so that doesn't rattle, because it'll make a rattle when you're driving, and make for a nicer job. So let me see what I could find. So this stuff here is called Mortite. It's weather stripping and caulking, and it supposedly doesn't get hard, it doesn't dry out. So I'm just going to see if this is going to work, because I do not want this thing to be rattling. So I'm pushing this up with my fingers, and I'm just kind of force that in there like that. That's nice. And then we'll just go around and do all the pieces. Make sure you push it all the way up to seat it. And then you want to push it down behind this flap so it keeps it taut, so the lock doesn't come loose. There's a little locking tab on there. Okay, that's nice, that's nice. It's not rattling anymore, but I'm going to do them all. Actually, you can see this one here is a little loose. See how that locking tab was below? So let's do that one next. You don't need much of this stuff. You really don't. Nice. Okay, so one, two more. Let me finish this up and then we'll do the other side. All right, that's it. They're both in, everything's been secured. Now, next thing we have to do is get the wires hooked up, and let's see if we have enough play there. Well, we may have to undo this tape, because I don't think it's going to fit. So why take the chance? Take a little razor knife here. There you go. That's going to go in on that end. Okay. And there you go. The cover back on. I think they call it a bumper cover, because it's covering the bumper. That plastic, this styrofoam, this is a piece of steel, that's your bumper. This is a piece of styrofoam. That's all the protection you have. So, okay, let's get going. Let's see how hard this is going to be. So it doesn't fall off. Put one of these in here. All right. Now, let's get underneath there and see if we can hook up those lights. All right, so what we want to do here is get this wire and hook it in. Okay, I just heard it click. Okay, so that's how you do it. So let's do the other one, and then we'll start to put this thing back together. All right, here's the other one. I hope you can see that. So this open part, that goes on the bottom. The closed part has got the locking tab on it, and that goes like this. Push it in until it locks. The bulb came out. Don't touch the bulb with your hands, by the way. The oils and damage the bulb. Okay, I just heard that click. So now we're going to put this bulb back in. Just like that. All right, so now we can start hooking up all the other pieces here. Okay, so now here in the corner, there's a clip here that's holding this part of this inner fender in. You slide it into here, okay, and then you slide your bolt through this little air damper here, like that. So you're screwing both of those in at the same time. Be that way. All right, takes care of the bottom. That's in. All the bolts are in. Now we just have to do the inner panels. All right, so I'm going to push this in and then down so it gets caught on that little hook there. And this goes inside the fender like that. And there's a little plastic pin that goes through there. I don't know if I have any. That snaps in like that. You want to keep the water from going behind it, so make sure this is on right. Now on my other Scion, I always had a problem keeping this beautiful line here fit. So I put a stainless steel screw through there to keep it that way, and it's okay. It doesn't affect the car, but I don't have to keep pushing it back into place. Alright, let's do the other side. So that's the passenger side. Everything looking good. We'll put the rest of these clips back in here. That's it. Now, we have to go inside, take off the console, and hook up the switch, if its switch fits. Okay, so here is the console. The fog light switch goes right here. I don't know if that's going to fit. Well, we're going to find out. So we're going to take this off. We're going to take off our console that holds these switches in here. Just pull that up. And this one here, you want to get in here where the wires are. And there is a harness here that's not being used for the fog lights right there, and that is not going to fit in that switch. So there's a couple things we can do. One, we could cut all the wires and hook the other harness in if we knew which one wire was which. Okay, or we can see if a factory switch works. And think about it, they wired up for the fog lights. They just didn't put the switch or the lights in. So I would imagine if we put a regular switch in here, this would work. So we're going to go take one out of our other Scions and see if that works. You have to do your own. Right. Here's the the factory fog light switch. And let's see if it works. Turn on the lights. Fog lights. And there's the fog light lighting up on the dash. See? Let's go see if we have fog lights. No, we don't. We don't have fog lights, but it's wired up on the dash. So that's going to be our next project, to figure out how to do that. Okay, so I put the switch in, and even though the fog lights are not coming on, it's very possible that there's no fuse in there for them, since the car didn't come with fog lights. So we'll check that next. Okay, in order to check the fuse, if there's a fuse in here or not, the fuse box is under here, so we have to take this whole thing apart. Pulling off these panels here. Fortunately, you don't really need any tools to do this. And I've done this so many times. Okay, so the fuse box is up there, so we're going to have to take off this cover here. One, two. Okay. Give me some more room to work here. Okay. Try to move that out of the way. Remove this. And this comes out. Alright, so we took off that panel. I'm trying to get some light on here. There is the fuse box. And I already looked it up, and it's number 21. There it is. 7. So it's a 15 amp right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a blue fuse in there. There's a 15 amp. I don't see any fuses missing. So that makes this project more difficult, because now we have to figure out what wires go where. Okay, my friends, moving right along. Let's finish this project. Let me show you where I'm at. What I found out was, because Toyota made this car and fog lights were an option, that means they must have had the wiring already in here. So I hooked up these new fog lights right to the factory wiring. I put in a factory fog light switch here, which, by the way, I will give you the part number for, because the switch that came with that kit does not work. So, unfortunately for me, I had an extra. I have two other Scion IQs. I borrowed the switch from there. So what you need here is part number 84160-12060. That's for the fog light switch. Okay. Now, you're going to need another switch, because up here, which I found out on YouTube, on the internet, there is a relay switch. Hope you can see this. This was attached to the steering column. It's got a little holder on there. It plugs into a little hole up there, but I pulled it out so you can see it. So right up here, it's hard. It's just hard to get in there. But you can get them at the auto store. So here's what I got. This is a RAA 1235, was 20 bucks. And I put that in there, and lo and behold, I have fog lights. And that means I did not have to wire up and use that whole wiring kit, which was one of the reasons why I didn't want to buy it. I mean, I bought it, but I didn't want to use it. So here, the fog lights are on. We'll see how they work when we're out on the road. Okay, so that's about it. I'll put this thing back together. Just for your information, I took this duct, which goes on right up here and snaps in a little clip there to get up in there so I can see what I was doing. And then, of course, the airbag has 3 bolts that holds that on, in case you've never done this before. But there's plenty of videos on YouTube on removing this stuff. So, okay, so that's about it. I'll see you on the next one.